Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So, I just had been working on today in my writing that led to a very interesting new perspective. So, here I am speaking about something quite fresh, and I see this as a potentially great topic for discussion. So, everyone knows addiction, and for everyone, they have certain associations with the word addiction, like drugs or alcohol, or maybe some addiction to relationships, like someone who's always thinking about relationships, or someone addicted to work, a workaholic, or whatever addiction. There's so many different addictions out there. So that's what I'm assuming right now is your starting point, what you know about addictions. So now, looking at this new perspective that I have, I want to start with the word war. How is addiction really the point that creates, perpetuates, and holds war into in this world, in this reality, to actually keep it here? So how does that work? So if you consider, first let's start in the beginning. With addiction, you have desire. With desire, a person is experiencing this experience of like a adrenaline rush, um, this great need, this great desire. And that, notice, is the point of where addiction is too. It's an addiction of that desire. We are literally addicted to what we are feeling when we are within a desire for something. Now, this is what I've been investigating within myself. So I am the cross-reference here for the information I'm sharing with you. That the desire is something that I participated in within imagination, within thinking. And for me, I cross-reference this with moments that I've had throughout my whole entire life, with specific desires I've had my whole entire life for me to live in this life, where I'd be constantly be thinking about them, imagining having them, imagining how great it would be. For this context of this video, you can use relationships, the desire for relationships. However, you could easily apply this to, I'm sure, other desires. But for this video, you can use that as for context. So constantly thinking about relationships, thinking about friendships, thinking about the one partner, and always relating that to some way within my interactions with people, where it would be there, always present within me in some level. Now, what is interesting is that when I cross-reference how I acted within pursuing this desire, what I noticed that the next step was within actually achieving it. Of course, there would be a moment of happiness, a great experience, but then the next step, the next stage was complacency. Was just, okay, it's here, now I have my desire, now what? So that complacency, when you have complacency, what's the next step for an addict? Because when you look at the point, the addiction is to the desire, to the experiencing of thinking about what you want, imagining having it, and then finally getting it. But then that's it, and it's over. the addict has to go back to the point of desire, to the point of not having it again. Thus, the only route possible within actually having what you desire and feeling complacent is to destroy it, destroy what you have. In this case, the context of the relationships. So to destroy the friendship, to destroy the relationship with your partner. That's the only way so you can recreate the desire again. So that's why we argue, that's why we fight, that's why we break up. So that we can become single again, so that we can be alone again, so we can then enter the addiction again. Hence, war. This is how and why war exists. What keeps it here is this point of never being fulfilled because we are literally addicted to the process of having a desire, of having lack, of having instability. Therefore, no relationships can really sustain itself, can really exist within this structure, within this system, within this way of living that I notice within me. And of course, because we're all one and equal within who we are, within what we're living right now, within what is within the world right now, which includes war. And this is something that I see that's obviously everywhere, in some way or another, within any war, within any conflict, within any fight. It's all this point of addiction, the point of our own selfish need to have a desire to be fulfilled. And that desire is literally a desire to experience desire. It sounds insane because it is insane. And that is why when you look at people and you see how crazy they're acting within what they're doing within their relationships, what they're doing with their partner, how they're acting, you can perhaps begin to see why. And this is something I didn't fully see or understand until just recently, where before I had bits and pieces of understanding. It took years to understand just parts of this, parts of how and why it is here. But only when putting all the little pieces together, including the moments of desire, including the moments of conflict, including the moments of complacency, and this whole cycle that happens, and really seeing it through memories of my life, can I really understand it firsthand and how it exists, why it exists, and why it keeps repeating in the same results. The result being that nothing can ever stand the test of time. Everything falls, and it's for this reason. So war can end. War can stop. Now, this is the part of the video where I talk about the future. What is possible? What lies beyond this way of living? That is obviously a point of stability, of standing. Where, for example, relationships with people will last, will stand. Where it won't be caused through a destruction or a complacency even, where a person becomes lethargic within being complacent and not having a drive or motivation anymore. Where a person could be consistent in who they are, then how they act, how they live. Where they're not entering into a fighting, a resisting, a battle, a life of ups and downs. The future that's possible is a life of stable, consistent, dependable, reliable living. That is something that we desperately need. Not for this world, and yes, for this world, but most importantly, for who? For you, right? For you. Because if you notice what is missing within your life, what is really missing within yourself, the point is to give yourself what you are missing. The point is actually to be able to create it and live it for yourself. So that's the point where life can actually begin, where people can actually start living, where that is possible. Together, even though we're all alone in how we live and what we face, there is a togetherness where we're facing the same thing, and we can help each other than facing our individual responsibilities in our individual life. That is why I do these videos, to support, to share, because I know that whatever I find within myself, another will find it as well within themselves. So this is to save time. This is to make it easier for you. Just as how I would want. Because I do want a world where everyone is supported to live fully, to know what it means to live. Because that just makes everything so much better. Thank you for listening. If you need more support, look through my channel, look through my material, and you'll see more and more support and more links to support yourself with. Just like I've been using this information to support myself with the process of discovery, self-discovery, self-investigation, through writing, through self-forgiveness, through changing, all through real understanding about how I work, how I function on a day-to-day basis for years, and the cycles I've lived for years. That is the only way to know for sure. It's all up to each one of us. So, good luck.